Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
A happy championship Sunday as this drops Sunday morning on the Purple Daily podcast feeds YouTube channel. It'd be nice if we were preparing for like Vikings Eagles or Vikings hosting Commanders at US Bank Stadium.
You're right.
That would have been a thing.
How interesting
in a different
would that have
universe. Yeah, but instead we do get to watch a bunch of good teams here on this Sunday, and maybe you're consuming this after whatever happened. I don't know, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. But before we get started here, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna plan ahead. Darnold, let's say theoretically Darnold gone, and maybe Daniel Jones decides that he's good with his crash course at quarterback rehabilitation university, and he's ready to move on to his football.
No, Daniel, don't do it. It's too quick.
He's ready to reintegrate
Don't
into
leave
football
the
society.
clinic. No.
Who are some other backup quarterback options to sort of flank J.J. McCarthy? And we'll go through a list here, but let's first talk about MSP plumbing, Judd. And heating.
Absolutely. And if we're going to do that, we should talk about the most important word at MSP, and that is the word commitment, because they do a fantastic job of being committed to making sure that your plumbing, heating, and air are all working great. For over a century now, families have relied on MSP for all their plumbing, drains, heating, and cooling needs. As a 100% family-owned and operated business, MSP committed to taking care of your family. And that's the most important thing here, because you know what? It's been really cold outside. And if that furnace starts to cackle, starts to cough, don't wait until it's too late. Check out my friends at MSP ASAP. Right now, by the way, get $50 off any HVAC or plumbing repair. Give them a call, 651-615-4292. Or for all your options, check out their website, callmsp.com. Callmsp.com, a great business that wants to make sure that your home is safe and sound and nice and toasty in these cold winter months.
Amen. And if you are catching this before the championship games, there is basically a free square on PrizePicks right now. This is the app. I'm just holding it up for the YouTube audience. Jaden Daniels, 0.5 passing yards. So they do this every once in a while on PrizePicks. They'll just kind of give a square away. And, you click more on that. You pick between 2 and 6 players on PrizePicks. You pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. You can combine sports, too. You got NBA, NFL, golf season here, too, if you're a golf junkie like myself and Dex. So that's how easy it is on PrizePicks. You can actually win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. Super easy to play. Download the app, too. And use the code Purple Daily to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's code Purple Daily to get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Okay. So let's say Darnold's gone and Daniel Jones decides to go elsewhere, or you decide, you know what, we're not going to pay him $12 or $15 million. He's gone too. Let's just go through name by name here. Quarterbacks that are about to be free agents. And are you interested in any of these guys? There's the Nick Mullins cutoff line, basically, but also Nick Mullins is a backup. Are any of these other guys quarterback rehab university guys that could, maybe you put them through a year as a backup and all of a sudden they're ready to go get you a comp pick in 2026 by signing. Yep,
absolutely.
Zach Wilson.
This one's interesting. Now, I'm going to talk about these guys under the guise of, if O'Connell signs him, I trust it. Like he sees something. Zach Wilson, who was the backup for the Broncos,
he went through Sean Payton quarterback rehab year as well.
He did, and I'm not drawing a complete apples to apples comparison here, Phil. But if you think about it, Darnold went through Shanahan rehab school, right? Didn't play. Zach Wilson didn't play. If Nick Mullins is the floor and Darnold 2024 is the ceiling, I'm about halfway up here. Is if O'Connell trusts this, the scouting staff, the quarterback gurus saw something in this kid. who of course got drafted by the Jets and got ruined by the Jets. I'm not dismissing this one. I think the word that I would use is intrigued.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, he also just looked, he's so young. He's 25 and a half years old. I mean, he
immature as hell, playing in New York, which is just death.
Yeah. Because he's barely an adult, and he seems like kind of a young 25, but he's been through the grind in New York. I think taking a deep breath in Denver and working with Sean Payton and being part of that, watching the way that Bo Nix went about as a rookie, color me intrigued as well on Zach Wilson.
And on Payton, because I know that he's a lightning rod for Vikings fans in particular. He's a very good quarterback coach.
He is.
Yep. He might be a jackass. We all agree, but he is very good. Like a year playing behind Bo Nix with Payton as your coach is a good thing.
Yeah, 100% agree. Okay, these are in order of how much money they made last year on Spotrac. So the next guy is Trey Lance, who made $8.5 million. I think this was maybe the end of his rookie scale contract. Trey Lance coming from Dallas, still just 24 years old.
I'm guessing KO is out, so I'm out. Here's my problem. Trey Lance athletically looks really good. Like there was a lot to like. But the reality is, if I'm not mistaken, pre-COVID, he had one really good year. And then the COVID year, they played one game as a Trey Lance showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And San Fran's like, yeah, that's our guy. And he failed.
He hasn't played enough football.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Zach Wilson played a ton in college. Trey Lance hasn't played enough. Mm-hmm. So I'm inclined to think that as smart as the Niners are as an organization, they just made a mistake. So I would probably be completely out here unless O'Connell said, yeah, I think I can do something. But it feels to me like the ship has probably sailed, unfortunately for Trey Lance, on his entire career.
Which, yeah, it's kind of crazy, man, because he's so young. He started that one game. He started against Washington and in that meaningless game at the end of the year for Dallas. 20 of 34, 244, no touchdowns, no picks. Just kind of, I don't know. I didn't see the game really. But he's only started, he got drafted in 2021. So he has started 5 games in the NFL in 4 years.
Yep. And
then in college, he started 12 games or something?
Yeah.
One full season, then the one game in 2000. He started like 16 or 17 games.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I would be intrigued to see what KOC could do, but I'm not putting him above Zach Wilson on this list. By the way, there's a bunch of like 30, 32-year-old kind of career backups on here too. Jacoby Brissett and Taylor Heineke and Marcus Mariota's probably in that bin
I'm
now
good on
at this
all those
point.
Guys.
So let's focus this exercise on the dudes who are maybe only a handful of years in the league, like Darnold, and like is there still something there beyond just he's a lifetime clipboard holder,
right? Which
brings us to Justin Fields, free agent, 25 and a half years old.
Intrigued. I don't know. So I don't know if he can be QB rehab to the point of being a starter again full time. But you know what? He was not terrible in Pittsburgh. There's some skill there. There's a skill set there that intrigues me still.
A particular set of skills?
I have a particular set of skills that I can run the football at the most opportune times. I'm definitely intrigued. Now, does he play a game that KO would want? That's a good question. Don't know. But if you were to ask me if you had to take as McCarthy's backup Justin Fields or Nick Mullins, I'm taking Fields. So again, I think I would rank it like this, just because there's an unknown here of the 3 names that you have brought up so far. I think I would go Wilson, Fields, Lance.
Yeah, I mean, Fields is just his mobility. He's shown some semblance with the arm. It does concern. You also have to take into consideration the Bears have just been a dumpster fire organization.
Correct.
It does concern me a little that his teams are 14-30 in the games in which he has started or played, I guess.
Quarterback wins mean nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of
Quarterback wins. Come on, man.
Quarterback
No,
wins over like a big sample are meaningful.
They mean something.
But quarterback wins in a 4-year sample where 3 of those years you're young and in Chicago and no one's produced offensively in Chicago ever. It's grain of
And then he
salt.
started in Pittsburgh and was not terrible. And then Russ came back and they benched him.
Yeah.
But I think there's something there, or I think there might be something there to find.
Agreed. The mobility alone, too, is just an interesting layer to this. And I know KOC's offense is very much, it's like an on-schedule offense. But, I mean, hell, Josh Dobbs didn't know what the schedule was, and he was able to run around. Like, imagine if you had a quarterback that was working to, like, all off-season, here's what the schedule is, but also you can use your legs. He's ran for 2,500 yards in parts of 4 seasons. I think I might put him above Zach Wilson. So far on this list, I would probably go Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. And then let me throw a 4th one in here too. Mac Jones is a free agent. 26-year-old Mac Jones. Ooh. Another first round bust to this point. He actually started 7 games for Jacksonville this year.
Yeah.
65% completions, 8 touchdowns, 8 picks. 167 yards per game, a 39 QBR, just really. Ugh.
And in somewhat in defense of Mac Jones, that unfortunately, somewhat surprisingly, became a quarterback dumpster fire in Jacksonville, which does surprise me. I think I'm a slightly less than intrigued. I feel like the sample size is large enough to note that he is probably a really effective college QB. I don't know about a pro one. Also, I think in fairness too. So Zach Wilson was drafted and screwed up by the Jets. Like, that's a demerit against the Jets. Justin Fields was drafted and screwed up in some ways by the Bears. Okay, that's the Bears, right? Like the Trey Lance thing, I think that pushes me over the cliff on not being intrigued by Trey is he started with San Francisco. Like somebody in San Francisco, and they drafted him high. So like there was every incentive possible to be like, we're going to stick with him and we're going to give him chance after chance. At some point in time, fairly quickly, they pulled the plug. They're not dumb. Like the Bears, dumb. The Jets, dumb. The Niners, not dumb. Patriots situation when Mac Jones got there had turned pretty dysfunctional. I don't know that I would call the Belichickian team, dumb.
Like Matt Patricia's your offensive coordinator.
But they definitely, So I would put Mac Jones slightly under the intrigued line, but I'm probably not as out on him as I would be on Lance. Yeah. But I think of the 4 names that you have brought up so far, Wilson and Fields to me are the clear cut. Those are guys I think that would be really good candidates for what O'Connell can do.
I think you're right. And also those guys too, Justin Fields more than Zach Wilson, but they can move with their legs. They can keep plays alive and they've shown some flashes. So yeah, I think officially I would say Justin Fields number 1, Zach Wilson number 2, and then a wide gap. Mac Jones with a limited ceiling is number 3.
Yeah.
Trey Lance, man, he's just kind of a theory at this point. He's like, the guy hasn't played. Basically in 5 years. He's made 5 starts in 5 years, including college.
And I think it does definitely have to be part of the discussion that San Francisco bailed. Like we're ordinarily talking about really dysfunctional teams that ruin guys, right? Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch in San Francisco is not in that bin by any means. So it means something to me that Trey Lance had not played much in college. That San Francisco was like, yeah, this is our guy. Traded up to the 3rd pick with the Dolphins to get him, and then said, oh boy, that's a mistake. Like I put a lot of credence in that, where as opposed to Fields and Wilson, to me, get a little bit of a break because the teams that tried to develop him likely had no idea what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Just for fun, just two other names that they're a little bit, they're not quite like, they're like in their 20s, maybe 27, 28.
Okay.
They haven't quite fully graduated to the old veteran clipboard holder, but former 4th-round pick Jarrett Stidham is a free agent, and he's gotten some run. I mean, he's made like a handful of starts, but he's gotten some run with the Raiders, the Broncos a couple times. The Patriots at one point had him, I think, as the backup to Tom Brady, maybe at the very end, like his last season.
Okay.
And then Drew Lock. Drew Lock has been this intriguing figure for a while. I don't know. I think it would have popped by now. Drew Lock's been in a couple situations where it's like Seattle and New York, where it's like there's a job open for you if you're good enough. And he wasn't able to beat out Geno Smith, and he wasn't able to beat out the Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito situation.
I think Drew Lock might be just a backup.
Yeah,
just you really
confident backup.
Don't want to play him, but he could certainly contribute in the QB room and stuff. Stidham, yeah, I mean, I've always just thought, on him, like, because I think the important thing to keep in mind about the official KO quarterback rehab center is it's got to be someone that can actually be like go from I was a backup, but I shouldn't have necessarily fallen into that to I am recovered and now I am a starter again. Drew Lock, to me, you're exactly right. He had those chances and it just didn't really work out, which is fine.
And that's an important distinction again, is like if we were, and we could do another episode where it's if JJ McCarthy goes down and Darnold's with the Raiders and Daniel Jones goes somewhere else, which free agent backup quarterbacks give you the best chance to win, 4 games in 7 weeks to keep your season alive?
Right.
That's like, then you're including Jimmy Garoppolo is a free agent, and Case Keenum is a free agent too. And you might even include like a Carson Wentz, maybe not, but there's veterans, Joe Flacco at 40 years old, Andy Dalton, if you're looking for who can come in for a month and sling it around in this system.
Andy Dalton, man, he's incredible. What a career that dude has had.
You know what? This is, again, I don't know that this would ever play out, but because I think they're going to want another, this quarterback rehab U thing is a real thing with the Vikings, but Andy Dalton kind of reminds me of some of these other veteran Vikings quarterbacks that get brought in throughout the last 30 years. If you put him in this car, Andy Dalton can probably drive it. He could probably drive this car.
He could probably win you a couple of games for sure.
Like if you had to start Andy Dalton for a full season and he could stay healthy, you're probably winning like 9 or 10 games with this roster.
Yeah.
You're not winning 14, but
yeah. But I feel like O'Connell, if O'Connell had to take a quarterback to come in and play at like he wants, Dalton wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Because he can still get the ball downfield. That's what I'm saying is I don't know that Justin Fields would be eligible for O'Connell's school because the reality is I don't know that his skill set fits what O'Connell tries to teach. But I think it's very clear that if Darnold and Jones walk, the Vikings have no one behind McCarthy that they would ever say they trust to start.
Yeah. Yeah. So, are there other names out there that we're either not thinking about or
Carson Wentz. Declan would go crazy.
he's kind of the fact, too, that they put him in charge of the Chiefs in Week 18 it was Denver, right? And he just couldn't do anything. Man, that guy went from literally being like an MVP, potentially, if not for the injury, to being off the grid entirely. So
it's one of the most remarkable downfalls.
It's crazy
because he tore up his knee, which is
Nick Foles jumps in, wins a Super Bowl, but
what's weird is it's like he suffered and as I recall, he could run a little bit, but it's not like that was his career, right?
No.
So Wentz tears up his knee, which by the way happens all the time, and guys come back now like it's far from a death now. It was like he tore his rotator cuff or something, like something that would stop you from being a quarterback.
Or his brain. I don't know. Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know. Maybe he enters quarterback rehab U. We'll see.
Might be too late for him.
The admission window is opening up.
He's going to be turned away. Sorry,
he
Carson, we can't help you.
We took a look at your application.
We're just going to put you back on the street. Bye.
So yeah, let us know if Daniel Jones is gone and Sam Darnold, who would you want coming into quarterback rehabilitation? Let us know in the Purple Daily comment section on YouTube. Click that like button and the subscribe button, and a 5-star rating and a positive review over on Apple and Spotify also help us keep growing this awesome community of Vikings fans. Enjoy your championship Sunday. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.